the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Okay, it is the 5th of July, Tuesday evening. We are in the Municipal Center. Could I please have a roll call, please?
Scott Murphy.
Here.
Rick Weber. Here. Greg Forney. Here. Rose Jackson. Here. Elizabeth Skinner. Here. Steve Chapman.
Here.
Susan Hutchins here. Okay, everybody's here.
Good deal. Can we have a review of the minutes for the regular meeting and then the special meeting we had? And I will take a common consent. Any additions and corrections can be added. So I didn't see anything when I perused them, but I don't know if everybody's good with the first set of minutes for the Tuesday, June 21st meeting. Everything okay? All right, common consent, good deal. All right, and then the special meeting we had on Monday, June 27th. Everybody looked at those, it's looked pretty good. If so, I'll take common consent on that. Okay, everybody look good? Okay, common consent, all right. Let's see, persons before council. We've got
That's me.
Garrett, okay. Then you've got the floor. Then you're with the Berkeley Backyards Myth regarding the community gardens. So
Yes.
you have the floor.
Do I stand? I've never done this
It
before.
doesn't matter. You can stand. You can stay seated. It doesn't.
Okay.
We're informal here. So
Okay. So, hi, my name's Garrett Osler. I'm a recent graduate of Berkeley Springs High School, but I'm studying at WVU, Environmental Soil Water Sciences and Sustainable Food and Farms. And I've been hired by the Morgan County School District to run the Farm to School program, run it, and then plan for the next 5 to 10 years. So that's really what I see this spot next to the municipal building being. But I just came from working out at Cape Resort State Park as a summer naturalist. So that's a little bit about my background. And why I came here tonight is I'm also a committee chair for Berkeley's Backyard Education Committee underneath the Morgan County Association for Food and Farms, MCAF, who's also responsible for the farmers market. The farmers market is one of their committees, and then there's Berkeley's Backyard, which I'm the committee chair of, and our focus is fighting local food insecurity through educational-based gardening, providing resources, free resources, help, whatever people need. That is what we're doing. And currently in Paw Paw, we're building a new seed hub so people can get free resources there. But why this community garden was originally established, it was established by MCAF originally. And it was to provide a space for the towns, like people who live here in town, to have the space to garden and to learn how to garden and bring what they saw at this space back to their home. So over the past couple years, it has changed hands a little bit. I know Melissa Schnod, she's one of our members, but she's the current person in charge of the community garden. And we've been told, she reached out to us for help, and we are more than likely, we would love to help get it back to its former glory, and turn it back into what it was, a space for people to come and learn how to garden. Amy Tudor, who couldn't make it tonight, she was one of the original people who went around with the town, with the mayor and everybody at the time, to judge other lots in town, and actually they tested the soil in every lot, and this was the only spot where the rod where you test it to see how compact or how not compact the soil is went literally arm's length down into the ground, and that means that soil is very well established, and it is probably the most nutritious soil in our whole entire town, and that's why that spot was chosen. I've heard that you've been looking into turning parts of it into a parking lot. And I have no problem with turning small parts of it into a parking lot, but I would not want to see that resource of perennial fruit trees and perennial fruit bushes and herbs and all of that turned, just raised to the ground and turned into a parking lot, because we'll lose that whole space. And out at the park, I do pollinator conservation, and we haven't had our gardens there at the park for more than 3 years, and 55 species have shown up in that time. So if we just get rid of that space, we lose the possible pollinator conservation right next to the town municipal building. We lose an awesome resource for the community to learn how to garden, and it would provide us with a space to teach courses to people for free, how to garden, and also maybe provide free produce for the townspeople right there in that spot. And I think it would be a really awesome way to show that the town is investing back into the community. I'm not asking for any money. All I'm asking is, could we please take that over and turn it back into what it originally was, and bring it back from its dilapidated state since COVID to a more clean, clear looking space where people in the community can learn how to garden and hopefully get free produce from it.
Well, yes.
Very well said.
Yes, very good, very good. Well, like I said, in years past, we had Melissa had come down. She was trying to take care of it, but I think it got too much with her having her last baby and everything going on. She just didn't have the help that she needed. Here is a young man that is willing to step up to the plate, work on it, probably bring some other people in.
Yeah, I forgot to mention my committee is 6 people.
I've been waiting for tomatoes because I used to rob tomatoes out of there. Like I said, council. I mean, it is on our agenda, so I don't know if somebody would be, want to. I think we required. We were talking about this earlier. I think we required insurance, or were they under? How did we do that? Were they under the town's insurance, being that was a town lot?
If any town volunteer is automatically under our liability insurance, like board of directors insurances, and like that. If something happens while they're doing their duty as a volunteer for the town.
Right.
I don't know about another group, but I'm sure you won't have to.
We have our own insurance. I'm also a board member on MCAP, so I'll just need to get their approval before we were to enter into any liability.
Right.
But I'm not going to speak for them, but they normally don't have a problem with that.
Right.
Like a certificate of insurance.
And then we also had a liability sheet. I think everybody that was participating, we just had them sign that basically.
Liability issue, like a waiver.
Yeah, waiver or whatever.
The volunteer is on that form, is that?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. We'll have to look back and see. I know that we had set that up that way. So, like I said, I don't have any problem whatsoever with it. But, I think we need to,
I'm all for cleaning up the space up, but also realize what you said, that their plans was for parking out there too.
And I think that's also why Melissa kind of let it go a little bit, is because she wasn't certain putting all the time into keeping it nice if all of that was just going to be raised and turned into a parking lot. Mike, I just have a question. Are you still considering that as a possibility?
well, we've talked about it, but there hasn't been any formal, decisions made. The main reason it was talked about this last time was because the shape that it's in out there. There's nobody been doing anything for almost 2 years over there. And I think that's why kind of the talk of maybe putting a parking lot in there and getting rid of it came up. Now I'm all for it we can work out something where we can get it back up and running. I don't have a problem, is I was all for the community garden in the first place, of continuing it. That's my feelings, just that, but I mean, it would be this governing body. I mean, the only discussion we had was because it was, nobody was actually working it. There wasn't anything in there being produced to help the townspeople like it was before, when the Morning Stars and all did it. So, that's why that came up in discussion. I imagine we can probably work out a deal somewhere along the line if council would be, so moved, to keep the area as long as it was being used for an agricultural teaching / helping people have food type, like it originally started. That's what it originally started as. We're going to teach people how to garden. We're also going to teach people, they need food like tomatoes, corn, squash, whatever, green beans and all. But I mean, the last year that it was productive, I don't think anybody, we had tomatoes that were rotting on the vine, because nobody came in and picked them and took them anywhere, or did anything with them. So,
But also remember, there's a handicap ramp that's gotta go up the side of those stairs out there too.
yeah, we had
Was
talked,
planned to put that
we,
up
we
too.
had talked about putting a handicap ramp, so we may have to take a little bit of that for some type of handicap ramp for the upstairs part. We had talked about that. We do have an access on the other side, but it's awful steep to get up this thing. So,
It sounds like we need to make it clear to Gareth in some ways, and this may take another meeting where we're actually outside, or someone that you assign this to is outside and looking at, okay, if we're gonna make some extra parking, how far, if we're gonna do that, how far does it need to go back? If there's gonna be a handicap ramp, where does it need to go? So he knows exactly what our plans are as far as going back. Now, I can't see us doing anything past that concrete wall. I mean, go up the steps and,
In terms of the current growing season, I mean,
yeah.
we've done these from year to year. Usually what happens is the group comes and makes their pitch for use of the garden in January, at one of our January meetings, and then we approve it for the next growing season until, which is basically that calendar year. So, I mean, I don't see us doing this between now and the end of the calendar year.
I
So,
don't see that happening.
from that standpoint, I mean, I think we could probably approve it without any real restrictions, other than, doing that kind of walk around just to ensure that they aren't putting things, they're planning for
Yeah,
the
you don't
future.
want them doing
I
something.
had one other question. Amy, when we just walked it to look at its current state, the back fence used to go all the way up to the forest line, and back there used to be the composting system. Now the fence has been moved forward, and the composting system is outside
You
of the
never
fence.
moved that fence.
So I'm not accusing of anybody,
Right.
but I just want to revisit
Yeah,
where
that fence wasn't
plot goes
authorized to
to.
be moved. I'll have to, I do not know, we'll have to look there and take a look, because
Are
if
the
it's,
corners marked up there?
yeah, because the only other person I would know that would have moved it would have been in the corner of, house up here, but they don't own that property up in there, we do.
Okay,
So-
and that was our question.
Yeah,
was
yeah,
if-
so like I said,
If anything changed.
I do not know if, I'll go up there and look and see if that fence has been moved. Like I said, I don't ever remember seeing anybody move it, but if they have, then we'll have to address that situation and put the fence back. So, but I know that property was surveyed when the original was put in there, so that we knew how far our property line went up.
So what are we doing with it now? Are we just like mowing it and keeping it, are we doing anything?
We haven't done anything inside at
I
all.
would say if they wanna start on it and do stuff with it to get it cleaned out, and if they got stuff they can plant in it for the
Later
fall
season.
and winter, for the later season, I'd say go for it.
Yeah. You know, so if somebody wants to put that in a.
Just find out where the parameters are on it and just stay within that property.
And I would say this, Garrett, kind of consider next January or February coming before council again to request it. You've done it on a year basis.
Yeah,
And if that parking lot idea comes anywhere close to fruition, you'd be part of that discussion.
Yeah, we would
definitely.
immediately,
I mean,
we
that's
would
not something
immediately
we're
bring
doing
you
right
into
now.
it if it gets to the point where, yeah, we're thinking about doing it. We'd say, hey, come on in, we want to talk to you. This is, you know, our idea of what we want to do, and then we'll see if we can work things with you to keep the garden if we do that. But I don't foresee anything here in the near future as far as parking unless we were to, I really don't.
So do we want to go ahead and say for this, the remainder of this season, that this group has the ability to go?
Yeah, if somebody wants to
You
put
know,
that in a
if you
form of a
can-
motion.
So moved.
There you
Okay.
go, second.
Second, okay, we got a motion, and a second on the floor to let Garrett with the mid-calf come in and clean up the area and start maybe doing something, maybe can produce something maybe this season. You know, a motion, and a second on the floor, any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay,
And this is this.
yeah, this season here, and then, like I said, in
yeah.
January.
January.
Come back January and we'll renew stuff and we'll work, you know, make sure. Like I said, I don't foresee anything right now. Like I said, I know that it was talked about because it wasn't being used. But I mean, if it's being used, maybe, you know, down the line, we can figure out what to do so we can both be able to cohabitate with it and keep it as a teaching / producing the vegetation for people in the community. Because there's a lot of people that need the food in this community. So, as you know.
Yeah,
If you
So,
talk to Joyce Morningstar or Lee Barron, they did a lot of work up there in that garden and brought in dirt and manure and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
they're 5 minutes from my house. I know them pretty well.
Well, so talk to them about
Good.
it.
yeah. So go back to your board of directors, see what they have to say. If so, you know, just give us the letter of your insurance that you have. And as far as I'm
Was
concerned,
there a fee or something paid for this?
it was, we were doing like $100
That's what I
per
thought.
vendor, but I think if they want to volunteer and go up there, I think, as far as I'm concerned, I think the council needs to waive that. They're going to put a lot of time in it, trying to get it back. There's a lot of work that needs to be done there because everything is overgrown. I would not feel comfortable right now charging a fee. As long as they have insurance, if somebody gets hurt or whatever, you know, whatever, let us have the insurance and, you know, have at it if your board says that's okay.
Okay.
You
So,
mind sending an email to the town with your title and anything like that, just so I have that for minutes?
Yeah, and is that the email? Is that the same email that I got for tonight's
Yes.
meeting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, if
Yeah.
you do that,
So-
and then get it to me, and I'll get you.
Yeah.
You can.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank
Yeah.
you for your
Yeah,
interest in it.
absolutely.
We
I mean,
appreciate it.
you know, like I said, I always look for tomatoes. I love tomatoes. So,
Well,
and I'm going to throw that out. So if
we'll
there's
plant them next
late,
year.
if there's late tomatoes that you can put in.
I like strawberries.
Yeah. I mean, there's already a
Yeah.
strawberry bed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like I said, go back to your board. If they okay it with you, you're more than welcome. Just give us the insurance that you have and have at it.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
And
Thank you.
I'll look at that fence up there and see if it's actually been moved.
Okay.
Okay? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's good to see you, Garrett.
Nice to see you all.
Okay, Charles Trump isn't here, but we have the, we can't do anything with it, but again, the street, we're going to be giving, that property, that little bit of property up there. The notice has been put in the paper, and we came up with the 19th is when we're going to do the public hearing. So that should be on the next agenda, public hearing. I would say if you want to do it at 5:30, right at the beginning of the meeting, real quick, and then go from there, would be great. So, yeah, that's got to go on the agenda for next meeting. Okay. Okay, communications from mayor. It's come to my attention, Sean, or Greg and I had talked about,
One of those boys.
yeah, I get both of them mixed up because I remember when they were little kids. So, I talked to Greg about him sitting in on the Region 9 meetings. He was interested, but I'm not willing to give up the voting rights. They call me anytime that they have any meetings where I have to vote. Is I'm also the secretary on the committee. But if you don't mind going when I can't be there and bring back information that is pertinent to council, I would appreciate it. Because like I said, I can't make all those meetings because they're stretched out everywhere. Some of them are in Bolivar, some in Charlestown, some in Ranson, some, we have a meeting once a year up here. I don't mind you taking that position, but like I said, if there's a voting, I think I still need to be on that because I was voted on to be the secretary on that committee.
Yeah, and that was my discussion with it, is as I spoke with Jennifer, Wishmeyer, which is
Right.
And you can't do an alternate, so the only way, in order for me to be a member of the board and have a voice, like go to the meetings, is for you to temporarily step down until you would want to be back on.
But they can give you all the information.
I can attend them.
Right, you can
Just
attend the
without a
meeting,
voice.
but you won't have, like I said, if I'm not there and they're deciding something, they call me on the phone.
Okay.
So we still have a voice on there. It's just I may not be present at that meeting.
And that's the only reason I wanted to bring it up,
Yeah.
is just with me, being the chair of the grant committee, and
Right.
I'm young, eager to learn. I know that you've been on
Right.
the board for a long
Yeah,
time.
about 8 years. So, and Susan was prior to that. So,
Yep. And I figured I'd ask because I didn't know if you were ready
Right.
to hand it down to,
yeah,
because I, like I said, I'm eager to learn, and I would
Right.
like to eventually, be able to be a voting member on the board.
right. Well, eventually,
and
if you want
progress
to
with that.
run for mayor, then you can become that. So,
Or
yeah,
or
or
if you
become
didn't feel that,
right.
With everything you have going on, that you'd be able to
Right.
attend, you could always appoint somebody.
Absolutely.
You're the only one that can do that.
Well, like I said, you can still bring information back and report on it. If I haven't been to the meeting and report on it, they have no problem doing that. It's just like I said, they do call me when I'm not there and they need an important vote, or and I do attend most of the side sessions of the committees that I'm on.
Okay.
So, but most of the time they're later in the evening when I can get to them.
Right, but just
So-
to clear it up, you are not willing at all whatsoever at any point in time during your term to
No.
appoint anybody else.
No, not at the present time. No.
That's
But
all.
like I said, you're more than willing to help me out, and bring information back to the council. That would be a real help to me, on that, so.
Okay.
But,
That was my only question.
all right, thank you. I appreciate it, Greg.
Absolutely.
All right, Bath Development, haven't gotten any information. Have you had any information at all? And I see that, we had asked the volunteer, did we get a hold of him to see if he could come?
Last we had spoke, he said he would be here for this meeting.
Okay, well, we'll give him, maybe he'll get here, maybe something's happening, and we'll go from there. We'll just move on down the line. Let's go to Parks and Recs. Their next meeting's the 20th at 7 PM at the courthouse, community room. We are still looking for another representative on the Parks and Recs. We had a resignation. I think we got 3 on that board.
3, and I think we have 2 vacancies.
Yeah, 2 or 1. Can't remember. We'll have to pull it up and find out, but I do know we had a young lady that had been reporting to us. She resigned because she went on to do something else. So anybody that would want to represent the town on the Park and Rec board, come forward and we'll get you there. We'll move on to Planning Commission. And
Mr. Mayor, hey, if you notice, we're not meeting on the first Thursday. We made a plan to shift it for next week just because
okay.
we still have folks on holiday, et cetera. And then if I could jump down and just, and that's it for the Planning Commission. We continue to work on a comprehensive plan. But jumping down to number 4, I would challenge the members of town leadership. I can attest that the rail trail northern portion is freshly mowed as of this morning. It's beautiful. It was getting out of control. It's beautiful. If you got 45 minutes to burn on an early morning, there's not a better walk in the whole town. So I challenge you to go enjoy it a little bit.
Did you mow it?
I did. And so no, it like I said, it cleaned up real nice. And you can make it all the way to where the second bridge is going to need to go. So
Okay, this is the north, this is on the north side of, North Berkeley Road?
from Jimtown Road going north,
Okay,
yeah, not back towards James Street.
okay.
And I think that's important because the ticks aren't on the grass and all that kind of stuff. That's what I mean. So all the critters and chiggers and everything else that would want to jump on your legs is gone. And secondly, and again, has nothing to do with either of these. Wearing my hat as a member of St. Vincent de Paul Catholic Church. I want to thank the police department here a couple weeks back after the Roe versus Wade was overturned. There was increased threats against Catholic churches and places that help people, young ladies who need help in their pregnancy, et cetera. And we have both of those. In case you didn't know, we have the Nazareth House up there that helps young ladies who need assistance. And so we had 24-hour watches on the churches. I think everybody saw it. There was a church in West Virginia, a historic church burned down south, and there's attacks daily across America. And so, like I said, between the town police, the sheriff, and the state police, it was great being out there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they know we're there. The stadiums drive in, and we chatted up for a while. So very overt deterrence from any knucklehead doing it. So I appreciate the town's piece of that in keeping our church safe.
All right.
Excellent time.
Yeah.
Move on. Staff development, is that the right, are they meeting this month?
That's the- You know, I thought that we had said we were going to skip July meeting. I think
August
so.
3rd, I thought.
I think so too.
So
You're
I think
correct.
there's a note here,
Mhm.
just so people know that development is going to be, you say August 3rd?
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Instead of-
July, this week is just hard for people, you know, a lot of them.
All right. Okay, so good,
Thanks.
good catch.
Yeah.
Good catch. Okay, well, moving down to rails and trails. We have a couple of things here that you can read that they've been working on with rails and trails. Not a lot going on, but they're still working behind the scenes on everything. Same thing with streetscapes. They're behind the scenes right now, trying to keep everything moving and keep it formulated. So that's reading material for you guys. Okay, train depot.
Okay. Tomorrow and every Wednesday now through the duration of the depot project at 10 o'clock on Wednesday mornings, we're going to have what is called an owners meeting. And that's where town representatives meet with the architect and the contractor on site. We plan on meeting there in the morning at 10 o'clock, going over everything that's going on and like that, and coming up here then. And I expect it to be a fairly long meeting because we have been billed, which of course is the grant, so it's nothing from town coffers. But going over the billing, going over possible change orders. Of course, you know that we have uncovered several items of historic nature that we would like to restore more than a real rehabilitative action would take. So we're looking at numbers, we're looking at finances and like that. So tomorrow's meeting will be good. It's the first one that we've been able to arrange. Normally they're every week. So I invite any and all of you all to come because it is an interesting project and it is moving forward. And I'm shaking every financial tree I can or anything like that. So
I might be able to meet down there for a while, but I have to.
it would be anybody.
I wouldn't be able to come up here and stay. It's been no try. Okay, all right, well, let's move on to Landmark Commission. As you see in your packet, we had a citizen that has wrote the department, Deputy State Historical Preservation Officer, about us not having a historical landmark commission. And I do believe he put in the letter that We have not passed that ordinance to bring the members down to 9. I'm almost sure we did pass that ordinance down to 5. We did pass that.
No, I
Yeah.
mean,
I'm almost sure we did last year. Yeah, because we were in violation of state regulations, so we went from 9 members to 5 members. I'm almost sure. If not, I'm gonna have Sharon check between this time. If not, we'll go ahead and get that ordinance done. We need to go ahead and see if we can get some people on that committee. We have 1 or 2 people on that committee still that I think meets, well, one may not now, but I'll have to find out the criteria because you have to live in the town of Bath to be on the committee.
I'll let you know that I was in contact with the SHPO office this morning, Susan Pierce, and like this. And the lady who actually runs the certified local government program for them. And they are more than happy to help us with any kind of ordinance or any kind of action that we want to take. They want us to be, active and healthy and moving forward with this thing. And, I am grateful that this has been brought to our attention to move forward. However, if there was an ordinance passed, I don't specifically recall it, but that would have been a year ago or so.
Right.
So,
I think we finished up on that, but I'm not sure. If not, we will take care of it and have that ordinance.
okay, all right.
So,
because that would-
to bring the 5 to 9
If
down
you
to
can
5.
find it, show it to me.
Right.
Because I'll send it to them, because, they're very interested and want to help. They want to send people, to help train new commissioners, and they're.
Right.
they're
So we
delighted
need
that-
to find some people that are interested in town. They have to be members, or be, located in the town of Bath, town limits. So if anybody is interested, please give us a resume, of your particular, maybe skill that you might have to help us with the landmark commission and everything. And then we can go ahead and get this thing so we can be in good standings with the state. So we need to take care of this as soon as possible, since this letter has gone out. So I think it's time now that we go ahead and take care of everything that needs to be taken care of and get the 5 members in place, get their terms of office in place so that they can start meeting to do what they need to with the historical landmark.
Absolutely.
So and like I said, I think it's, so if anybody on council knows of anybody or has talked to anybody that lives in town limits that would be willing to have them send their little resume, that's normally how we handle it, just like we did with the fellow with the Bath Development. He sent us, his qualifications and everything, so that we can look at it and recommend him for membership in the Historical Landmark Commission.
And in the meantime, if you find that ordinance, please send it.
Yeah, well, if it hasn't been done, we will do it for sure, because that's got to be done to make us legal and in good standing that way. So, anyway. All right, let's move on to clerks and recorders report.
Well, the only thing that I might have is I did haven't put in the packet. This was a very nice article about the town of Bath has been named one of the 10 best small historic town destinations, and I thought that was really nice, especially given the situation we find ourselves in right now with the Historic Landmarks Commission, and we are a good history town, and we do want to move forward with it and underscore that as a goal to take care of.
Yeah,
But it's a nice article, because the journal doesn't write, they don't send reporters like they
Sometimes they
used
don't.
to, so
Nope.
this was
So-
nice.
What was what was it published in? What was the?
The journal. Martinsburg
Yeah, it
Journal.
was surprising
Martinsburg Journal,
when I
thank
saw
you.
it come out. I'm like,
I know.
So, and
They
that's
haven't done
good.
much.
I mean,
So
that's
thought it was
really
pretty
good.
nice
So,
for
like
council.
you said, we need to get on this so that we can continue and continue what we have been elected to do. So, Okay, Madam,
Oh, okay, but yeah, we're still back.
yeah,
But
Do you
that-
have it?
that's-
okay, and you don't have anything else?
You
Okay.
got those over there? You want-
All right, let's
Yeah,
move on to finance and pay some bills.
Alright. So, let me think, whenever you guys do anything. Good with it.
Mhm, yeah, we went through every
Alright.
daggone one.
Stinking one of them,
Yeah.
right?
So I'd like to make a motion to pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $20,058.05.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Rick made a second. Okay, sorry, Rick, I didn't hear you. To pay the town of Bath bills in the amount of $20,058.05. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes.
Alright. I'd like to make a motion to pay the Berkeley Springs Waterworks bill in the amount of $7,360.59.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion second on the floor to pay the Berkeley Springs Waterwork bills in the amount of $7,360.59. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I'd like to make the motion to pay the cemetery bill in the amount of $3,600.
Second. Have a motion and a second on the floor to pay the cemetery bills in the amount of $3,600. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion passes.
Alright.
Is there a reason why the waterworks is that low this time?
Because the second meeting, you always get the insurance and everything.
Okay.
The second
The
meetings,
bond payments.
yeah, the bond payments and everything, it's the one,
Okay.
that'll be at 50 or 60,000 next time.
And I would like to make a motion to disperse the hotel motel budgeted funds in the amount of $25,058.41.
Have a motion, a second on the floor to pay the hotel motel distribution in the amount of $25,058.41. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. All right. Tree board.
Nothing report at this time.
Okay. All right, Grant?
Nothing besides maybe, I don't know if you wanna add in scheduling another, ad hoc committee meeting.
For the ARPA, we did in the finance and the grant committee meetings, we did talk about the second round of ARPA funds. And if the ad hoc committee would like to look at them to assist Sharon whenever possible with applying for those or getting our hands on it.
Okay. All right.
And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Greg.
And I will send out a notice to the ad hoc conference to set up a time and we'll get that posted for the next, before the next council.
All right, public safety?
Nothing new. Truman Cook started this past Friday. From what I've seen, it's pretty visible, so that's a plus. Other than that, we got some vehicle repairs to do, but nothing really extraordinary, hopefully. I'm not sure yet. I haven't heard back from Marshall whether or not he's doing that relay switch. I don't know whether or not it'll be for that F-150.
All right. Anything else? All right, Chief, thank you. Do you have anything? Okay. All right, well then, let's move down to cemetery.
The mowing continues in Greenway. I did want to make the council aware of the fact that the payment for the past month, I believe it was a month and a half, has come out of general revenues. And that probably will need to happen again. But I would encourage you all also to go see the cemetery. It looks very good. You know, the contractor's doing a very good job. So please take the time to do that. Second of all, I am also working on a couple of small projects with Rodney in the cemetery, some trimming trees around the shed that are on the roof, seeing if we can caulk the doors of the mausoleum to prevent any additional water from getting inside, and they can actually make repairs, and some other small projects like that, which he says he's willing to help with. I also want to thank him for taking some graves that had burials but never cleaned up after the funeral, leveled, grass seed put on, and he's taking care of a couple of those for me as well. So we really appreciate the help he's been doing. He's been giving us. There's some small jobs up there. That's all I have for now.
Thanks. All right, Public Works.
Rodney and I are going to interview on Friday. We have 2 applicants for the vacancy that we have to do work from. Hopefully, one of them will pass muster and get somebody on by early next week. But time will tell.
All right.
That's it.
Okay, good. Ordinance, we had a small ordinance meeting this evening and working on some stuff here, so I'll let Chris have the floor.
Yeah, in particular, we are working on the notice of building or real property improvement form, Susan, that you had proposed some things for. And we're going to be sending out to the council for your preview a copy of the proposed ordinance amending prior ordinance for the notice form, which is the form that goes to the county assessor's office. Adding a part 2, that's part 1, and a part 2, which is this additional information we're getting. Yeah, and a notice that informs people and that they're signing, acknowledging they have to abide by the state building code and carrying out the work. And so we'll be sending that out and plan to put it on for first reading at the next meeting. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Okay, Waterworks.
Nothing new to report, unfortunately. Nothing firm on when the project's going to start for the phase 4 replacement. Hopefully we'll have something at the next meeting, but our next water committee meeting is Wednesday, July 20th at 4:30. I know, I'm sorry. Is that okay?
Yeah.
If not, let me know. We'll change it again.
3 times.
I know. Well, we couldn't meet on July 4th, so I don't, it just screwed up everything.
About 6:30.
Okay.
Yeah, we should be able to get it through.
All right.
But that's all I have.
Okay. All right. Well, we come to this point. Okay, anything else that needs to come before council? If not, I'll take a common consent to adjourn. Everybody good? All right. We're in adjournment. Thank you.
So this was actually